ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين.
When I became Muslim, I wanted to pray, but I didn't know how.
And they were no guided salamats to help me either.
That's why these guided salamats are so powerful.
They teach you how to pray step by step.
For just £10, you can help up to 3 people to learn how to pray.
But for £100,
You can guide by the will of Allah
10 to 30 people connect with Allah every single day.
imagine the reward for every prayer they make.
Every Fajr, every Dhuhr, every Asr, every Maghrib, every Isha.
Every salah they make is on your scale.
Donate now.
and help someone stand in prayer today.
About people saying that I think Prophet Muhammad married like a 7-year-old.
Six. And then
Six.
And then he waited for her to become an adult at the age of 9. Now the issue with this is a lot of people look at our time.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, 9-year-old, I have an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
I know what my daughter looks like. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So we cannot, number one, it's called the fallacy of presentism, which is you look at a 9-year-old today and compare it to back then.
Yeah.
Which country are you from originally?
I'm from Cameroon.
Cameroon. Okay.
Yeah.
So even look at, for example, certain African countries, the girl's maturity based on, for example, even the life conditions there, the weather, there's so many factors that play a role. So to us, it's very simple. If the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had those inclinations which they accuse him of, his first wife was 15 years older than him.
Yeah.
And he was married to her for, if I'm not mistaken, about 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
So if he had that inclination of whatever they deemed to be, why did he, when he was back in those days, you can marry as many women as you like.
Yeah.
There was no limit.
Yeah.
He stayed married to one woman for about 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, if he had those inclinations, why did he marry an older woman and stay married to her for a long time?
Yeah.
So we need to judge by a person's character. If somebody comes and says something about your dad, you will say, yo, I know my dad.
Yeah.
There must be a reason.
Yeah.
So we say the same with the Prophet Muhammad. None of his enemies ever used that against him and said, hold on a second, you're the Prophet of God.
But taking modern day standards and bringing it back to old,
Yes.
back in the day, essentially, would you condemn the behavior in modern day standards?
Not at all. Because the thing is, what am I condemning it based on? Today's standards. Does my religion say that I have to, my daughter at 9 has to get married? No.
No, it doesn't say that.
No, it doesn't. We're saying she became an adult at the age of 9.
Yeah.
That can change today's time.
Okay, so
a 9-year-old back then could be a 16 or a 15-year-old today, or even an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
So we use the same principle, which is what? The Prophet Muhammad...
But with that saying, it's like saying morals versus law. Even though something is legal now, doesn't make it right. And even though back in the day that was legal, doesn't make it right. So
No, because then what you're saying is, every single nation and society were what? Pedophiles.
It was socially acceptable.
So are you saying that...
socially acceptable.
Okay, good. If it's socially acceptable, for example, today, it's homosexuality. Do you think that's normal?
It's common now. For me, do whatever you want to do, my personal
Okay,
opinion.
but the only reason you're saying that is because, if you say something, you're going to get cancelled. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So the pressure is there, which means what? They're forcing their opinions on you.
That's my honest belief. Whatever you want to do with your body, you should have the right to do it.
Your honest opinion. I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they like.
Yeah.
But to me, a man sticking his penis into another man's rectum that feces come out of is, I believe that's unnatural.
Yeah.
They can do that, but sometimes they can do whatever they like.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that is not, I would not deem that to be a normal behavior.
Yeah.
Now, they might do that, that's totally up to them, totally fine. I've spoken to many homosexuals and gay people here.
Yeah.
I have no hatred. My religion even accepts you as a gay to be a Muslim. So, but we are conditioned to say what? Now that's okay, trans. Like for example, a man walking as a trans.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to ask you a question because I don't want to be in the pressure.
It's just
The point I'm making is this. Societal norms today, if people looked at us back then and saw us and we're doing, they'll say these people are tapped.
Yeah, exactly.
Good. What we're doing is the same. We're looking back then and saying, then people are crazy. Now,
but that's saying, but we still should condemn actions back then, even though it's socially acceptable. Should actions not still be condemned?
But on what basis? What objective morality are you using to say that is wrong? Is it
using modern day morality?
Okay, good. Is it categorically wrong or consequentially wrong?
Sorry, can you just...
So, for example, the Prophet's marriage to Aisha, is it categorically wrong, meaning in no way, shape or form, in any circumstance that should happen, or is it consequentially, meaning that it could cause her harm?
Okay, I think it's categorically wrong.
Okay, on what basis?
Marry a minor.
On what basis? On what morality?
Because due to the fact that them not having the maturity in that type of situation.
No, but we're saying that she became an adult at the age of 9.
She became an adult at the age of 9, but that's by the law of the old standards.
No, not law. We're saying she became an adult at the age of 9. So you look at the 16-year-old today, you say she's an adult. Even then there's a dispute because there's 16-year-olds that are not ready. They're not
adults, but they're legally allowed to.
Good. So just because they're legally allowed does not mean their body's ready for sex, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Good. So which means what? Islam says not one shoe fits all. You can't come and say, oh, you're 16, you can have sex now. No, maybe her body says no. Maybe she's not mentally ready. But what does the law say? You can have sex.
Yeah, you can.
Good. So which means what? That's flawed.
Yeah.
Because in Muslim countries, most of them, they're 18 years old.
Yeah.
So I can come and say UK is a paedophile country.
Okay.
In America, 250,000 girls got married at the age.
I feel like you're missing my point.
Okay.
My point is that morality changes. Yes, correct. Morality changes throughout time, and things that are socially acceptable does change throughout time. But we should still condemn and look at things in a modern perspective on past events.
Why though? What evidence do you have that our morality today is the correct morality to judge the past?
I feel like because morality has improved over time and things are socially acceptable.
That's subjective though. That's
subjective, yes.
Okay, I'm saying objective.
I personally feel like over time, people's morality has improved over time. I think becomes socially acceptable has changed the fact that people be more moral.
I think it's gotten worse.
It's gone worse.
It's gone worse with morality. Like for example, when it comes to for example, teaching our kids trans, LGBTQT, you are a boy or a girl.
Opinion. That's basically your opinion on the fact that that's wrong.
No. I believe objective morality comes from objective source, which is free from any human opinion. 1 + 1 is 2. Nobody cares about.
What's objective source, can I ask?
Good, God Almighty.
Okay, cool.
So it has to come from there. Otherwise, it's subjective morality. That's the reason why we're in where we are. Because, for example, do you believe if your daughter comes to you and says, "I'm a boy," do you think that's normal?
Yeah, it's normal. I think it's fine. I feel like she should have the right to decide what she wants to do.
So, one second. Are you married?
I'm not married.
You don't have kids, my friend. Listen, if you have kids and your daughter comes and says, "I'm going to cut off my breast," do you think that's normal?
I think she has the right to do whatever she wants to do with the body. That's my personal opinion.
It's not personal. You know what I believe? It is a belief that's been indoctrinated in you. There is no way I believe as a man that you are going to tell me that your daughter has been brainwashed in school to say that she is a boy. She comes home and you know there's reports on this. Do you know how many of these kids who have castrated their own self?
That's true.
One second. Do you know how many of them have gone under the knife, castrated themselves, and said we were brainwashed because we're going through a phase? And you took that phase seriously and did something that's irreversible. So the damage.
That's the type of situation there. I feel like there should be a certain age with that decisions like that, irreversible.
Who decides
surgery.
that? Okay, who decides that?
That's based on their maturity. I don't feel like a child should act on that decision because that's something they may regret later on.
Okay, good. So, but they think 16-year-olds can make.
But that's what I would do for my daughter personally. I'll wait till like she's older, and then let her make the decision on her own.
So as a father,
just because,
as a father, you will not. If she says, "I want to try cocaine," you say, "Yeah, go try it."
No.
Why not? Why not? That's her choice, though.
It's a drug, and I don't think it's good for her.
Okay, good. So you will protect her from a harm you believe that will harm her.
Yeah.
My friend, cocaine, she can go into rehab.
Yeah.
When she takes off and takes hormones, that's irreversible.
Yeah.
That's worse than cocaine.
You think it's worse than cocaine?
There's 100 times worse than cocaine that a woman cuts off her breast, takes hormones that destroys her system.
Yeah.
A cocaine is a habit that you can get rid of.
Yeah.
When you cut off your certain body parts, you cannot get that back. So that is far worse. That's the reason why I'm saying when it comes to morality, we have objective morality. We say the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, waited for her to become an adult, and we use the same principle in their time, and we use that in our time. How?
Yeah.
We say the Prophet waited 3 years for her to become an adult. If my son is interested as a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old girl, we use the same principle and say, wait for her to become an adult. So our religion doesn't say marry a 9-year-old or you have to marry a 9-year-old. It is we look at each individual girl because each individual girl, you might have a 17-year-old girl that's not sexually ready, but law says she can have sex. France says 15, UK says 16, America says 12 with parental consent. Islam says no. Every woman has a right to not to be harmed. So each woman varies. A girl might be 18-year-old and you might say she's not ready for intimacy. So Islam cares about the well-being of the woman by not giving one number because it might harm other girls. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That's the reason why the Prophet Muhammad, no one in history ever used this against him except into the 1900s where certain individuals, I forgot their names, it's not my tongue. Anyways, so they are the ones who brought this narrative. So they said this. So we say, nowhere in our religion says you cannot cause harm. So which means a woman has to be mentally, sexually, and physically ready, and she becomes an adult. If the Prophet Muhammad had a liking towards girls that are pubescent, why did he wait for her to become an adult and have adult futures? Because pedophiles like girls that are childlike. He waited for her to develop. A woman like, you know Akon? Rapper Akon. Remember he had a track called Put the Blame on Me? Do you know what that track was about?
It was about underage girl, wasn't it?
In a club that he met that was fully developed. She was 13 or 12-year-old. So he goes, it was not my fault that she got into the club. Is 18. Why? Because she looked like a full-grown woman. So the point is what? In Islam, the Prophet waited for her to become an adult. Otherwise, he could have said, I'm the Prophet of God, I want her at 6. Why did he wait 3 years? because she was not ready. And in Islam, we believe that she had to become an adult.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
Cool, thank you,
It's a pleasure, man. Thank you very much. It's lovely talking to you. I'm here for you guys every Friday, Sunday.
About that one. How did Muhammad determine?
Come on, Ak, what are you saying?
How did Muhammad determine that she was an adult?
It's not Muhammad that determined. It's not Muhammad that determined. Aisha, he herself, she said, when I became a woman, we consummated the marriage. When I became a woman, she herself said that. So what you have to understand, in this country, look for Richard II marrying Isabel de Valois.
Yeah.
How old was she?
7.
6 years old.
6 or 7, yeah.
In here, in the 14th century, 1392. Richard II.
This was the norm. Your great grandparents, my grandmother, she got married when she was 14. This was the norm. Do you get it? Because you need to understand, it's not like they didn't live like us. You have bloody Tesco around the corner. My friend, you got different tribes trying to come and kill you. Yeah, you got your life expectancy flipping 35 or 40. Yeah, so the time is a whole different era. So for us to judge them based on our time, it's not fair. So that's the reason why we say, when you look at the Prophet Muhammad, look at what his enemies said about him. They knew he was the truthful. They never questioned him. They knew he was truthful. And that's the reason why we look at his character as a whole and say, hold on a second, did he have that inclination? Some of his wives were 65, 70 years old. So do you know what I'm trying to say?
That's the no. And one thing just to finish with, which you have to understand. You know, if you look past the from the 19th century onwards, that's when this question started coming up
by the Orientalists.
Yeah. Before that, it's never, because it was fine. It was the norm. You understand? You understand? Now, go and look in America. In so many kind of like what they call them states. It's 13, age of consent, 13, age of marriage, 13, 12, and 15. You can Google it and you'll find it. And you know one thing?
I'm hungry. I'm gonna
go. And you know one thing? You know one thing else? But it's really so sick. What's the age of consent in here? 16. What's the age of marriage? You see the hypocrisy. You can't get married and do it like in the halal way. You know, but it's all right to at 16 you're okay with that. You know, the people play with the law as they want. Okay?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome. No problem.